All right, I think we can probably go ahead and get started. I'll start off with a quick introduction of myself. So my name is Kayla Hamilton. I'm the Assistant Director for Employer Relations here at the University Career Center at UT Dallas. And I want to welcome everybody to our Work the Career Fair Like a Pro, learning a little bit more about how to navigate our upcoming career fairs that we are doing through the end of the semester. And then next, I'll pass it over to Xavier, who's also on my team and on this call.
Hello, everyone. My name is Xavier Jones, and I'm the Employer Relations Coordinator with the University Career Center. And I'll pass it over to Amy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amy Kendall. I'm a career consultant for the University Career Center, and I guess we can go ahead and jump right into it. All right. So, the purpose of the career fair. So, it will present an opportunity for networking. You can gain information about your industry. You'll be able to clarify your career goals. You can introduce yourself to full time, part time internship opportunities. So, the employers that will be there are actively hiring. And then you can gain more information about the hiring process in general as well, learn more about job requirements, and then talk with hiring managers and employers. And then you'll have that face to face contact as well. So that'll be really nice. All right. So there are 8 core competencies that employers are seeking. So we have career and self development, communication, we have critical thinking, inclusion, leadership, professionalism, teamwork, and technology. We'll go a little bit more into detail about what all that means. So, for career and self development, employers are looking for a self awareness and for someone that continues to grow professionally and personally. Then we have communication. So, how well can you express yourself verbally and non verbally as well? Then, critical thinking. Are you able to think outside of the box? Are you able to problem solve? We have inclusion. So, are you culturally fluent? And do you have a awareness? We have leadership, which is pretty self-explanatory, but are you able to lead and take initiative? But also, are you adaptable and able to be led as well? Then we have professionalism, which I think is a little self-explanatory as well. But do you have a good work ethic? Do you know how to present yourself professionally? Then we have teamwork. Are you able to build and maintain relationships with your coworkers, employers, the company? And then we have lastly, which is technology. So can you work with, learn, adapt, and apply technology for those company needs? All right. So knowing yourself is important when it comes to thinking about your career and deciding what company you want to work for. So things to maybe think about while you're thinking about what employers to speak with. What is your dream job? What do you enjoy? What do you not enjoy? What are your skills and ability? What makes you happy? What do you value most? What are you looking for in a company? So, when you're interviewing, of course, that company is going to be interviewing you. Are you a good fit for this company? But you are going to be asking, is this company a good fit for me as well? All right. So I'll turn it over to employer relations to talk a little bit more about the career fair itself.
Yes, thank you. And so we are really excited to be bringing back our career fairs in person. So if you've been with us for the last 2 years and if you've attended any of our career fairs, then you know that we've been doing these in a virtual capacity. So I'm going to actually pass it over to our events coordinator, Swin Tambis, to kind of go through the process and talk to you about registering for a career fair, how to find these employers, how to do your research beforehand, and kind of what that looks like on the handshake end. So, Swin, do you want to take it away?
Yes. So this is our first major in-person career fair for outside employers. Our last one of these was back in spring 2020. We're looking forward to it. But basically, part of being able to do your research as the employers is through Handshake. We try to get as many of the information about the employers as possible presented to students to help them decide which employers to target during a fair, make the best use of your time, and to work the career fair like a pro. So, first thing you're going to want to do is to register for this event. That way, you'll get updates about any changes to it, um, get notifications if more employers join, any additional announcements that we may send out from our office. Then once you register, you'll be able to see the details about the event, where it's going to take place, what time. But more importantly, you'll see all of the employers and all of the types of opportunities that they'll be able to present themselves. But more important, just as important, make sure that you're able to attend the event if you're going to sign up for it. We usually let employers know how many students you expect to attend. That lets them kind of gauge how much resources to commit. And so if they like the turnout, they'll keep sending more representatives, and in turn, that presents students with more career opportunities through these fairs. We can move to the next slide. So researching employers for the career fairs that we host. So on Handshake, if you view all the employers, you'll see all of the list of employers that are confirmed to attend. They will have a presence there. Um, for those who are looking for specific types of career opportunities, like say internships or full-time jobs, you'll be able to full filter through and see which companies are able to offer what. If you're an international student, you'll be able to see if the employers are able to sponsor or they're able to offer CBT or OPT positions. Use this opportunity to learn more who's going to be here. You won't be able to talk to all 50 or 60 employers within 2 hours of this event. So be strategic about who you're reaching out for. Use the information that they provide here to determine which ones are worth prioritizing, whatever lines up with your goals for the event. But you please feel free to utilize everything that's on here. If you have questions, I will be showing you how to best reach out to the employers. Let's say, for example, you look for an instrument for an employer like Texas Instruments. You'll find them on here, and you'll actually be able to access their Handshake profile, where they have a bunch of info that they provide to students and alumni. If you can go to the next slide. So this case, I'll use Raytheon as an example, change it up, but you'll see a description about them, what their corporate culture is like. You'll see reviews from other students that have worked with them. There's a neat Q&A section where they answer students, or they answer questions from students. Their contact info would have all of the public details that they like to share to students, whether it's connecting through LinkedIn, their job portal site. A lot of these companies also have public staff lists where you'll be able to reach out to actual employer representatives with questions that you may have. So take advantage of all this information. And again, this is all in one area of Handshake that we have ready for you for the fair. Once you register for the event, you'll have access to all the information from the employers here, um, just to help prepare you with interacting with them, in addition to all the other tips that our career development team will share with you. Um, I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Amy.
All right, so these are some resources that you can use to learn more about employers. So, of course, going to the employer's website, Handshake as well. Then we have LinkedIn, Glassdoor, the database, and then BuzzFile as well. So, BuzzFile is a resource where you can go and see different employers that are hiring based on majors, and you can look up employers there too. All right, so you want to have your resume prepared when you come into the career, or yeah, the career expo. Make sure if you haven't done so already, I would strongly recommend getting your resume reviewed by a career consultant. And then you will need to have an elevator pitch as well to gain the employer's attention. And we'll go over how to formulate that elevator pitch in the next few slides. And then your outfit. So there is no dress code for the fair, but we still would recommend dressing nice. It can help with overall confidence when speaking with employers. So that is something recommended. We'll go over kind of some little tips for that as well. We do have a resume critique workshop on April 6th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then, of course, we have virtual and in-person appointments available to sign up via Handshake, and you can register via Handshake for this resume workshop as well. All right, so for the elevator pitch, so it is a short 30 to 60 seconds, well-crafted business pitch telling someone who you are, what and who you are and what you are seeking. Um, it is designed to market your experiences and skill set, and so you can use your elevator pitch in a variety of professional situations such as networking, career fairs, interviews as well. So the whole tell me about yourself. So you can include your goals, strengths, accomplishments, what you're seeking, and just really showcase your personality and your professionalism as well. All right, and so here is just a little kind of step by step on how to formulate your elevator pitch. And I'll include a link in the chat later on as well, just to help formulate that as well. But so who are you? What do you do? You can share your current work, leadership, volunteer, academic experience. What are your skills and accomplishments? Goals? What are you interested in doing? What are you wanting? Why are you here today? So an example might be my name is Amy Kendall. I'm a junior pursuing a bachelor's of science in psychology at the University of Texas at Dallas. I have experience in career advising. On campus, I'm involved in, I can't think of a thing. I'm involved in Team Up Spirit, something. My strongest skills are. And then here are some of my accomplishments. It could be the dean's list, or I'm a president or vice president of an organization. And I'm interested in a certain field, and then what I'm currently looking for. So I'm currently looking for an internship and wishing for a summer 2022 start. This is just a really good guideline to go off of. All right, so for the career fair, there is no dress code, but we would still recommend dressing nice. Interview attire would be awesome. So slacks, the blouse, the button up, blazer. Um, if you have, I mean, if you don't have slacks, then maybe just like dark jeans or black jeans, a blouse, button up. These are just some like what you could wear, what you definitely shouldn't wear. Nice suit, button up. Let's not wear any crop tops. But again, no dress code, but just think about, you are talking to employers, so we want to present our most professional self. All right, so you'll definitely want to prepare questions, and make sure that you are doing your research when you are talking to employers. So look at the employers that are attending, find out more information. Again, looking at those resources that we discussed earlier, like Buzzfile, Handshake, LinkedIn. They're going to ask you some questions. So that could be tell me about yourself, which is where you could input your elevator pitch. Why should we hire you? So provide evidence. Make sure that you are looking at those job descriptions. And then why are you interested in our company? What do you know about our company? So again, making sure you go to their website, doing that research. And then tell me about your professional goals. So how does this align with that company and that position that they are hiring for? All right, so I'll turn it over to Kayla.
Thank you so much. So as we just went over, kind of how to prepare for the upcoming career fair leading up to, we are also going to talk a little bit about what you should do and what you shouldn't do the day of the fair. So when you are actually there and you're actually interacting with employers, here's just a few quick tips for kind of how to approach those interactions and how to present yourself on the day of. So we just went over how to dress professionally. So as Amy mentioned a couple of times, we don't have a specific dress code for this fair, but we do highly encourage our students to dress professionally if they have the ability to. So whether that is, like Amy said, dark jeans and a nice shirt, or if it is a full suit or full pantsuit or something like that that you can wear. We definitely recommend and you strongly encourage you to bring plenty of copies of your resume for employers. So, print off plenty of copies ahead of time. Ideally have them on nice paper, but if you don't have the ability to do that either, you can just print them off on normal paper, stick them into a folder or a Padfolio or even a notebook somewhere where they won't get damaged, just so you have easy access for when an employer inevitably asks you for your resume during the time. And then do allow for extra time to actually talk to the employers. So if you show up with 30 minutes left in the fair, you'll have to really be strategic about which employers you're going to talk to because you won't have too much time. It's been some time since we've had an in-person fair, but as we all know, lines will form around some of those more popular employers. So be prepared to maybe have to wait in line or maybe skip over an employer and then come back to them. So just allow yourself plenty of time to actually talk to all of the employers that you want to see. And so that's why it's really important to come in with a little bit of a strategy and have that research done before the fair so that you have plenty of time to know exactly which employers you're going to go to. You'll have a map of where those employers are during the fair, so you'll be able to know exactly which tables that you might need to go to, and just allowing plenty of time to talk to them. And then next is be respectful to other attendees. So like I just mentioned, there's probably going to be lines that form depending on, little choke points or really popular employers. So just be generally respectful of other attendees, where they are in line, no cutting in line, things like that. Next and most importantly is follow instructions from the career fair staff. So we will have plenty of staff members and volunteers running around the day of the fair. So if you need, questions answered, you can come up to us and ask us, and we'll be giving out some instructions throughout the fair of, the way to move in line, how to, stand in certain lines, which employers are where, giving out maps and everything like that. So just kind of be mindful of the instructions that we give you and don't be afraid to come up and ask us questions. Okay. Next for the don'ts. So first is don't ambush the employers. And so this might sound a little bit obvious, but you would be surprised how many students come up very, very excited to employers, and they can get overwhelmed very easily just by the number of students. And just the number of questions that they get. So with ambushing employers, don't badger them with 500 questions. Come prepared with a couple of questions that you might have, but don't, ask them 500 questions and then, expect to be able to take up all of their time, because there are a lot of other students that are going to want to talk to the same employers that you're talking to. So just be very mindful of the employer's time and the other students that are around you. And then especially with, what sort of questions to ask, it's really great to ask questions, about what the company does and what sort of opportunities that they typically have. But things that you're not going to want to ask for, you won't want to come up to an employer and just say, can I get an internship? Can I get a job? That's not really what they're there for. They're there to kind of teach you about their open opportunities, give you more information, and answer your general questions about their company. So just come with a couple of those things in mind when you're, waiting in line to talk to an employer, or when you're doing your research. Come up with some really good questions for the employers. I'm sure they would love to get a question that is a little bit more unique to their company that not 500 other students are going to ask them that day too. Next, don't surround yourself with distractions. So it's great if you bring a friend to the career fair with you so that you have that extra support, but try not to just stay close to them the entire time. Don't be in the corner on your phone the entire time. Really, use this opportunity to network with employers, find your own path in the career fair, and come with your own kind of set of goals for that fair, so that you come in with a plan and you can kind of get in, get your job done, and then get out of the fair at the same time. Next, we've talked about cues or lines a couple of times, but don't cut or ignore the lines that might form for employers. So just be respectful again of the other attendees around you. Wait in the line if you have to. If a line is really long and there's another employer that you want to go see, feel free to go see them first and then come back to that employer that might have had a longer queue than others. And then next, and probably most obviously, is don't show up unprepared. So with this, we've given you a lot of tips on how to practice your elevator pitch, how to prepare your resume, how to come with the best questions for the different employers that you might see. So just come with all of these things in mind. Don't show up the day of without having done any research, without knowing what employers you're going to go see, and without having those questions prepared. And I want to toss it back to my team really quick just to make sure I hit everything that we wanted to on these slides. Was there anything else that y'all wanted to point out here too?
I think that covers a good portion of it.
Awesome. Okay, great. We can go to the next slide then. Okay, probably the most important piece of the career fair isn't even the day of, it's the follow-up of the career fair. So it's really, really, really important to figure out the best way to follow up with the employers that you're going to see on the day of the career fair. And this is as easy as just asking an employer or a representative that you talk with, what's the best way to follow up on this? So let's say you're having a really great conversation, you don't want the conversation to end, but you gotta move on. What's the best way I can follow up with you on this opportunity? What's the best email I can contact you at? Can we connect on LinkedIn? There is a lot of different ways that you can connect with an employer or a representative, and they are happy to connect with you afterwards as well. And then kind of going back to the preparedness of it, identify your employers of interest. So while you're going and making your way throughout the career fair, you might find some of the ones that you had planned to talk to, you're much more interested in maybe than other ones. So make notes of those. Identify those employers that had great opportunities that you were really interested in. Maybe they, presented to you an opportunity or something like that, and you want to make sure that you follow up with them at the end. So make note of that. If you need to bring a notebook, take some notes, do that. Next is send a thank you email. And so this is pretty common practice after, maybe an interview or a normal interaction with an employer, but it can be just as important after a career fair too. So if you get an employer's business card or they indicate that the best way to meet up with them is, or to follow up with them is via email, send a quick thank you email. Hey, it was great talking to you at the career fair today. I'm really excited about this opportunity that you presented. I would love to follow up and maybe have another deeper conversation about that opportunity, or what's the best way to apply for that opportunity? What do you need from me? A quick thank you is always appreciated by an employer, and they're never going to say that they don't want to hear that. Next, with identifying those employers of interest, what you're going to want to do is then go back onto Handshake, go onto LinkedIn, go into some of those resources that we talked to you about, and find those open jobs and internships. So you'll probably get a lot of information from these employers about the open opportunities that they have. Again, take notes on those, head over to Handshake after the fair, and then start applying for those jobs and internships. You're going to find that most of, if not all of the jobs and internships that you find out about at the fair are posted on Handshake. So definitely head back in there and see if you can't, start applying for some of those jobs and internships. Additionally, on Handshake, our employers connect with us in a lot of different ways. So it's very unlikely that an employer just comes to one career fair a year and then doesn't come back and see us again. Check on Handshake to see if an employer of interest to you is doing an employer visit on campus, if they're doing an information session, a workshop, maybe they're doing some on-campus interviews. These are great ways to kind of stay at the top of an employer's kind of mind and frame of reference so that they can identify you immediately when your application comes through the door. So if it's an employer that you're really passionate about moving on and going to work for, try to get to a couple of their events. Connect on multiple different levels. Don't just end the connection after a career fair and, just kind of blindly apply to all of the opportunities. Next slide. Great. Okay, so most important piece is our actual upcoming career fairs. So a lot of you are already registered. If you're not, please go ahead and register for some of our upcoming fairs that we have throughout the rest of the semester. Again, both of these career fairs are in person. So on April 8th, we do have our just-in-time career fair. This will be from 1 to 3, and that will be in the BCB atrium. So we will have, about 60 or so employers at this career fair. It's going to be a lot of employers, kind of a small space, so definitely come with the preparedness in mind, come with the employers that you know what you want to talk to. But this is going to be a really great fair for especially those graduating students that are looking for immediately open opportunities. The Just-in-Time Career Fair is going to have a lot of full-time professional positions as well as full-time internships that are immediately opening for the summer or for those graduating students. But definitely if you want to interact with employers, if you're not graduating this year and you just see some employers of interest, still come to that fair and interact with those employers, find out about their opportunities. This gives you a leg up on the competition moving into the next year. Next is the part-time and volunteer fair. So if you are interested in part-time work or volunteering, especially over the summer, definitely come to this fair. It'll be on April 15th, again from 1 to 3 p.m. This one will be in the Student Union Galaxy rooms. And so we'll have a very wide variety of employment opportunities for part-time and volunteering. So a lot of these are local companies that are looking for summer volunteers, that are looking for summer help. So if you need that part-time job or you're looking to get some volunteer hours, this is going to be the best fair for you. And again, all of these are available to register for on Handshake through the instructions that we kind of gave you at the beginning. And then Swin, I think you had something you wanted to add here too.
Yeah, I went ahead and for students who do want to have their resumes looked at, we are hosting a resume workshop. It is virtual on April 6th, so you can just have your resume looked at from the comfort of your home, wherever you're at. You don't have to come into our office for it. You'll sign up for it by submitting a resume through a job posting, which is what I've linked down there. And you'll be invited to select the time from the time slots that we've made available. It'll primarily be by our career development team with some employers that are thrown in on there. So take advantage of it. If you come back later, there's not enough time slots, just keep checking. We'll add more as they are available. That's it.
Yes, thank you for doing that. So do we have any questions from our students? I can give everyone the ability to, if you want to raise your hand, I can give you the ability to turn on your mic and camera, or you can feel free to put any questions that you might have for us in the chat as well. Again, we're really excited to be bringing our students and our employers back together in person for the first time in over 2 years. So this is a really exciting time for us. Our employers are very excited to get back with our students. The Just-in-Time Fair is bursting at the seams with employers that want to come and talk to our students here. So definitely make sure that you get on Handshake, register for those fairs, and check out the employers that we have available for you, because they are very excited to see you. I know y'all are really excited to see them back in person. But if you guys have any questions, fears, concerns, anything like that, please let us know. We would love to address those now. Again, we'll be available the day of the fair and leading up to the fair to answer any questions as well. So I'll pause for a minute, let anybody else that wants to add in anything, just to see if we get any questions in too. Out to just throwing it out there as things are popping in my head. When you're looking through the employers that are going to be part of the fair, and when you're looking through kind of their Handshake profiles and stuff, definitely make sure that you look at, a lot of them will already have jobs posted. You know, before they're coming to the fair, they'll be attached to their registration. So definitely take a look at those and make sure that you're kind of the target audience for those employers, because we do have a lot of employers that are coming in with a specific group of students in mind. So it's always really, really important that you kind of know what demographic of students our employers are looking for too, just so that you can make the best of yours and their time. And I see a question did come in. Okay, so the question that came in is, when starting a conversation with an employer, should you just keep it focused to just work, or should you also try to get to know them as a person before moving on to talking about their company? I know we shouldn't keep our conversations too long, especially if other people are waiting in line, so I wasn't sure how to make a lasting impression. This is a really good question, and I'll give kind of my take on it too, and I'll let anybody else that wants to chime in here. So what's really important about, you know, when you're coming up to an employer is, what Amy was talking about earlier is having your elevator pitch. And so if you have a very unique elevator pitch, let's say you do a lot of different organizations on campus, you are really highly involved, you maybe have already work experience in the field of the company that you're talking to, that's going to immediately kind of start you off on a great foot. Additionally, a lot of the employers, the representatives that they're sending will, either they might be recent college graduates, they might be UTD alumni. And so it is really important to kind of ask them questions around, how did you get started in your role? What is your educational background? And they like talking about themselves too. And it gives you some insight into different career paths, and how people can kind of get to where they are in a specific company. So you can definitely ask some of those more personal questions that have kind of a career-minded lean to them. So definitely, how did you get to where you are? What was your educational background? What is the culture like at the company? All of those things are still, somewhat personal questions and getting to know somebody on a more personal level, but they're all related to the work and to the work culture. And so that's why it's really great to come in with a couple of those questions in mind. And maybe you have 5 or 6 questions that you come prepared with, and then you plan to ask each employer 2 to 3 of those questions, 1 to 2 of those questions, and you can change it up per employer so that each interaction that you have is a little bit different too, and you might get to learn a little bit something different from each employer. Additionally, some of our employers are going to have multiple reps there, so it's important to think about who you're going up and talking to. Maybe they have a rep from one area and a rep from another of their business lines, so making sure that you're talking to the correct one. Oftentimes they'll point you in the right direction. So yeah, just come prepared with those different questions. But I would say most of the interactions would, be great with 2 to 3 questions prepared for our employers, with your elevator pitch being around, that 30 seconds to 1 minute area. Does anybody have anything they wanted to add on that one?
Yeah, I just want to say I agree with Kayla. I would say keep it, work professional, or work personal. There needs to be a goal to that question. So asking them their favorite pizza topping, that's not going to get you anywhere. So asking them something that's personal but related to that work and that company will be helpful.
For me on that question, I think like leaving a lasting impression is kind of going to be hard for you to leave that lasting impression just because it's 600 or 700 students talking to an employer in one day. And that's why we kind of tell the students to do things like messaging them on LinkedIn, sending them an email, writing a thank you letter so that you can kind of refresh yourselves in their minds. And it helps you to stand out from other students who aren't taking those steps.
And then just to add to that too, like what was mentioned earlier, where there's going to be multiple representatives there. Oftentimes, depending if the employer is expecting a lot of student intake, they might just ask you to just submit your application and then we'll connect later. Take them up on that. If they just that, if they give you an iPad, fill out your information, go ahead and fill it out, upload whatever you need to, or just give them a copy of your resume. Then just connect them with LinkedIn or wherever later on. Don't be disappointed if you didn't get to ask your questions. There are some companies that are like that. In this case, just go through what they've set aside as their process, and then get to know them that way. And maybe that might influence your decision too. Like if that's a company that you want to further be invested in, time wise or effort. So you're going to see a bunch of different types of methods that employers would interact with students. Some of them will take the time, but of course, you want to take the initiative of being respectful of employers' time and other students' time too. So just having just that small handful of questions ready to go for interacting with employers.
Great. I think everyone had really good points there too, and especially when it came to the to Xavier's point about the follow-up, a lot of the times that's where you're going to make your impression during a career fair. It might not be necessarily during your actual first interaction, but it might be during that follow-up, the message that you send on LinkedIn, the thank you email that you send afterwards. Not every student is going to do that. That's why we put on workshops like this, because that's something that we wish every student will do. but not every student is going to do that. So that is an area where you can definitely stand out. Great. Did we have any other questions? Great. I don't see any other questions in there right now. We'll hang on for a couple of minutes just in case somebody didn't want to ask their question in front of the full group. But we want to thank you all so much for taking some time out of your day to learn with us and to kind of prepare for your future. This is a really great stepping stone to, the next step in your career. So it's really great that you took some time out of your day to come and learn with us on our upcoming career fairs. And we hope to see you there. And we're excited to have you back in person.